storytellers tell many different kinds of stories, and personal stories are ones that each of us can own. They are the stories that shape our lives. My personal story today is about being a breast cancer survivor, but a survivor in a different way. On the first day of my senior year of high school, my mother had a mastectomy. We comforted her when she came home, as it was very traumatizing and life-changing for all of us. By Christmas time, the cancer had moved into her lungs. And by Easter, it had moved to her brain. And in April of my senior year, I came home from school to find a neighbor waiting for me. That neighbor informed me that my mother had died that morning at the hospital. My brother, sister, and I, and my father, we were all indebted to people from the church and my aunts who came to help us during this time and helped during Mother's time of final days before her death. I call myself a breast cancer survivor because I survived my mother's death from breast cancer, but it wasn't an easy road to be a motherless child, to watch my father fall into alcoholism after her death. But there's always a ray of sunshine because we can either choose to be a victim of our circumstances on our journey, or we can choose to rise above. This experience gave me more empathy and compassion to anyone who was suffering from cancer. But as a survivor of my mother's breast cancer, I was able to give credence to my mother's artwork. My mother was an artist also, and she did this pastel of me when I was a child of about 9 years old. My mother left her wonderful supplies with me. I have her original pastels from 60 years ago that I cherish. I have her paintbrushes, her palette knife, and I still use them to create my own work. So instead of becoming a victim of my circumstance, I decided to become an artist like her, to study art and to create art. And I use her brushes, I use her pastels to create this artwork. So sometimes I work in watercolor, and I love to enhance beautiful colors into that work. Sometimes I work in oil pastels, creating the brightness of color. And then I use the pastels, her legacy pastels, to create my own pastels, this one based on Van Gogh. And my love for creating portraits using her pastels. For when I use her brushes and I use her pastels, I feel as if her spirit is in the room with me, and that her legacy is in my hands, as though she's guiding me and helping me with those artistic decisions. I give to you this story today, a story of survival, of taking the pain of losing a mother cancer, to being birthed and metamorphosis into the artist that I have become today. A personal story. It captures your memory and it brings to life a moment in time.